Hey YouTubers, Whiteboards with the Whiteboards channel. Thank you for watching. Today we're working on a Chevy Cruze, and in this video, step-by-step procedure on how to replace your wheel speed sensor. Let's go out to the vehicle and get started. Alright YouTubers, step one, safety first always. Disconnect that negative terminal or black cable from your battery. Cut all electrical power to your engine. Let's go ahead and pop the hood and do that. I'm using a ratchet and socket 10mm socket, and that little nut there, you do not actually have to remove it completely. Just loosen it to a point where you can pull that cable up and off, and set it in a position where it's not going to hop back and make contact with that lead during the project. From here, let's head to the tire. Leaving the engine, again, passenger side rear, we have the C0050 air code, and prior to actually lifting the vehicle up and resting it on the jack stand, we want to loosen up the 5/19mm lug nuts. And the reason for that is we don't want to actually lift this car up and rest it on the jack stand and then begin tugging and pulling and yanking on those bolts to try to loosen them up to remove them. All we're trying to do is alleviate the chances of this actual car falling off the jack stand or shifting in a way where it becomes unsafe. So 5/19mm lug nuts, go ahead and loosen them up. Do not remove any of them. And then we'll lift the car up and rest it on the jack stand. All right, YouTubers, making progress. Inserted the jack, lifted the car, inserted the jack stand. And as you can see, there's where I placed the jack stand. And it is resting completely on nothing but the jack stand. I will remove the jack carefully. And from here, I'll fully remove all lug nuts and remove that tire. Tire and rim are fully removed. Now we have much better access to the actual speed sensor coming to the back side. This electrical wire right here is your speed sensor, and it secures itself into there. And unfortunately, feeds all the way up and behind your splash guard. So we actually have to remove this entire splash guard. Lower right hand corner is a T20 screw, as well as the complete opposite side. Go ahead and remove both of those T20s. And believe it or not, right above this is one additional T20 screw. Go ahead and remove that. Next, we have a 10mm nut up top, as well as inside here up top. Go ahead and remove both of those 10mm nuts. And there's what they look like. That's the first one. Again, we've got an additional one up top here. At this point, both 10mm nuts are removed, and I am placing them in an organized manner so I know what screw and nut goes where when it comes time to resecure everything. I want the same screws going in the same holes that they came out of. From here, you have these little push clips, one on the right hand side and one over here on the left hand side. I'll do my best to explain how to do this. In here you have a little slit or a cutout or slot, and this center portion you want to pull it out. And to do so, I'm using just this little small flathead screwdriver, and I'll come up under and I'll just slowly pop this cap out. Be careful, these are plastic, you don't want to break them. Again, just be careful, you just want this center cap to come out. And once you get it to a point where you can just pull it out, that is the locking clip. That is what it looks like right there. There's that little slot I was mentioning, or that gap that you insert the actual flathead screwdriver to pry out that locking clip. From here, we'll do the same thing and remove the left side. At this point, YouTubers, we have removed all the hardware. From here, you just want to carefully pull this protective rain shield or rain guard out of the slots, and you might need both hands. Just kind of carefully pull it around each part. You have to maneuver it around the actual strut or shock, and then down below here, and it should fall right out. And carefully set that in a safe location. There it is. Let's take a look at what we've gained access to. Again, here is the speed sensor electrical wiring, and look where it connects to right there. So from here, we are going to disconnect it from this electrical connection point. The way to do this, looking at the actual sensor from this position, on the right hand side, you will see right there is a clip. You need to push that clip inward. And when you push this clip inward, it pushes the lower locking tab outward. So compress the upper portion, it releases the locking tab down below, and with one hand pushing this and the other hand pulling this off, it comes right up and off, just like that. And from here, we will basically remove this portion of the sensor connection point from the actual metal frame here, and I may need a screwdriver, but just pull it off carefully. I definitely needed both hands to do that. As you can see, that's what the rear portion side looks like. So in the event that you can get your hands back here or a set of pliers to pinch or compress these locking teeth together, it'll be a little easier pulling that out. However, that's out. Follow it down here. I pulled this out as well. That was secured right there. And these little portions just clip right up and off of the actual brake hose. Be very careful, you don't want to harm the brake hose. And there's two of them. There we go. And to this part right here, it just comes up and out, just like that. Now, to the most annoying part of the project. You see this? That T-bit right inside there, you cannot access it because of this brake line connection. You see that? So what we need to do is go grab a wrench and loosen that up. All right, YouTubers, real quick, in the event that you can actually remove that T-bit without removing your brake line, that would be a huge benefit for you, convenient-wise and time-wise. So with that said, in the event that you have an adjustable or really convenient tool to use to get that out, definitely do it. However, if you do not, what I'm going to do is show you the actual step-by-step process on how to remove your brake line to gain access to it. Let's do it. You have an E10 bolt right down there. You want to remove that bolt completely, because when it comes time to removing this brake line, you need to be able to shift this entire piece outward to gain access to that T-bit. Just be careful as you work through this tight little spot. You do not want to harm any of the brake lines. And that's what it looks like. Set that aside, and you can pull this out of its little groove there, and that will allow you to shift, or be able to shift, this brake line. See how you can pull that out? At this point I have a 13mm wrench. We are going to loosen up that lower nut. However, very important, get your new speed sensor in place for a quick install, and that's what it looks like when you remove that T-bit. And we are going to do this as fast as we possibly can to alleviate losing a lot of brake fluid, nor allowing any air into the system. For reference, we have the Duralast brand. There's the part number. It's loose. And again, it's going to leak, but how annoying is this? There it goes. And we are going to access that T-bit. They definitely did not make this easy. Go ahead and remove this as fast as you can. You can see the brake fluid dripping. There it is, right there. I'm going to pull the speed sensor up and out. Might have to tug on it a little bit. There it is. Again, as you maneuver this, be very careful. You do not want to harm any of this brake line. And from here, we'll just carefully remove the entire speed sensor from the wheel well. And we'll set it on here so we don't get brake fluid on the concrete. Now it's time to install the new one. Before inserting the new speed sensor, do your absolute best to clean all of this area of brake fluid. Any additional brake fluid that falls inside that speed sensor slot can actually make your speed sensor fail or throw an error or fault code. That would not be cool. New speed sensor in hand. As you can see here, we are going to reverse the steps and insert it in the actual hole there, and align. You're gonna have to muscle it in there, and once you get it in, align the actual sensor to a point where it is flush with the hub, and insert that T screw and secure it. I recommend inserting the T30 screw in by hand and hand tightening it. The last thing you want to do is cross thread this. That would not be cool. Once you get it in there firmly by hand, grab your T30 socket and secure it. After securing that T30, carefully realign this portion of your brake line in place, as you can see here, and resecure it to the upper portion of your hub. And do not cross thread this. Use both hands. Be very, very careful. Again, hand tighten this. Do not cross thread that. It should go in really smoothly. Once it's tight by hand, grab that 13mm and secure it. Alright, next we'll resecure that E10 bolt that secured this bracket. After securing that E10 bolt, just spend a couple minutes and re-secure the connection points. This little rubber grommet here places itself and secures itself to that brace there. Following along, as you remember, we carefully just popped the old clips off this brake line hose. Do your best not to harm it. And once you get to this portion here, that's what that looks like. You can see all those little teeth. Carefully insert it here, push until it secures itself from here. The back portion here, as you can see, we're just going to press this in. And that was the hole. It looks like they've got an additional hole here. However, it was in this hole, so we are going to push in, and you heard it click. It's locked in place. Electrical connection point. Push it on, align it properly, and push until you hear the click. There it was. From here, double check everything, because next we are going to install that actual splash guard or rain guard, and you lose access to all of this. So again, make sure all of this is properly secured. And I accidentally put this in that hole, and that's the wrong hole. So I pulled it out and it was pretty loose. So I put it inside the hole just to the right of that, which is the right hole the old one came out of, and it's a lot more firm and secure. All right, went and grabbed the splash guard, and make sure you position this properly. That little slot there will go right over the actual shocker strut, and spend a couple minutes and carefully align it properly. Splash guard is back in, and that went in a lot easier than I thought. Most important thing, align all your screw holes, and those 10mm nuts we pulled off, that threaded stud that sticks out, make sure you align it properly over those holes, as you can see here. And your plastic push clips have their holes accessible there, and the 2 additional T screw holes here that we will secure those T screws. So go ahead and secure all hardware. Making progress, all hardware are secured, and now it's time for the actual plastic clips. Very important for your convenience. Make sure this little cutout is on the bottom side. And you'll notice it has a unique cutout, and as you can see, as it travels up, it cuts out further outward to the right. So when it comes time to insert that actual locking clip, you want to make sure you insert it properly. Align your holes, press it in, and again, that little cutout on the bottom portion, and the locking clip, as you can see, it is uniquely shaped. And insert this properly and push in until it is secured. Just like that. Flush with the internal plastic tab. We'll do the same thing for the lower right hand corner. Lower clip installed and secured, and on the back side, just above that part that we removed, is your bleeder valve. So when it comes time to bleeding the brakes, we are going to remove this little rubber bleeder valve protector cover, and there's the bleeder valve right there. Grab my 10mm wrench. I'm going to use the circular portion here and loop it around the actual bleeder valve as shown here, and I'm going to bleed the brakes. I'm not going to bore you with that process, and that is for your convenience as far as time, because again, the main focus or purpose of this video is the replacement process of your sensor. So we will bleed the brakes, and then we'll put the tire back on and secure the tire, reinsert the jack, lift the car, pull the jack stand out, and lower the car slowly and carefully onto its wheel. Tires back on, I lowered the car, removed the jack stand and jack, and secured those 5 lug nuts to the front of the car. Verify that your brake fluid reservoir fluid level is within the proper fill parameters. Here's the max triangle, and there's the minimum triangle. As you can see, that coloration in there, that dark portion here, that is our brake fluid line. If you need to add brake fluid, carefully remove this cap and add it until you are within this parameter. Make sure you use the proper brake fluid for your specific vehicle. You can find that in your owner's manual. From here, let's go ahead and resecure the battery cable. It might spark a little bit, just be careful. That's normal. And resecure this 10mm nut. From here, we will lower the hood, hop inside, and take it for a test drive. Inside vehicle now, starting the engine. And we have about 136,000 miles, and we have the stable track, as you can see, and the ABS up top. What we need to do now is get this vehicle above 15 to 20 miles per hour and allow that brand new speed sensor to communicate with the onboard computer and ABS module, and at that point it should register and turn off all lights. All right, YouTubers, getting up to speed, and it has already turned off. Check that out. I'm going to continue driving, get it up to speed, probably hit the highway, hit 70 miles per hour, and go for about a 30 to 40 mile drive. Back from our test drive, we put 44 miles on the vehicle and the ABS light stayed off. If yours comes back on, it's very possible that you need to replace that hub to get that ABS system working normally and back into its proper configuration. So again, we hope the video helped. Do us a favor, below the video you will see that thumbs up icon. Click on that, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Definitely go to your settings, turn on your YouTube notification bell. Once you do that, every video that we upload, you will be notified. You will be able to stay up to date with us. That will be awesome. Thanks again for watching.